Welcome back everybody, and today, not quite the Saturday sofa share we normally do, I'm going to actually introduce the man behind the lens, Roger! So Roger works for himself, runs a company called Flyhigh Aerial Imaging.
That's it.
Did I get that right?
You got it right.
Fantastic.
First time for everything.
So Roger and I have been working together for just over a year now. I think it was about last September.
Must have been, wasn't it?
When we first got you in. And we'd always been looking for somebody to, I suppose, really enhance our marketing. And I think in the past we'd used a GoPro and a little gimbal, and that kind of had its place, I think, back then. But things move on. Hence the name Evolution. We always push forward, and we're always trying to sort of like expand the envelope, you know, to go that bit further with it. But we recognised very quickly early on that doing video and doing drone footage really enhances the marketing of property, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
How long have you been doing the job, Roger? What's your resume, I suppose?
Right, well, photographer for 17 years.
Wow.
So doing that was back in the day where I did a lot of fashion photography and portrait photography. Gradually moved into video over time, and you could see where the market was going. You could see that video was becoming more and more of a thing. Looking at social media, looking at Instagram, you could see that was where everything was going to shift to.
Yeah.
So I started to move with it, and then just decided one day that I needed a change and I wanted to do something a little bit different, and went out and got my CAA permissions for drone operations, because you need to have a CAA operational authorization, as it's now called, to fly a drone commercially, to work commercially. Went out and got that and started building the business from there. Started from nothing, started from scratch,
just like
with
us.
no client base.
And you just work it.
And just work it.
Work hard.
Worked hard for 3 years. Worked for very little money for the first couple of years, you know, because you're trying to build a business.
Now you do stuff for us, and
now we do
stuff
even
less money.
And get even less money.
But I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's kind of you started off with nothing, you've built on it, you've worked on it. It's a real personal input from you.
Yeah, it's taken a while, but it's going well.
Good. And we've always supported local businesses. We always want to use independent people like ourselves. Yeah. And I mean, tripping over you has probably been one of the best things we've done for a long time.
Good. Glad to hear it. Yeah. Cool.
So again, another point you interestingly raised there about your license for flying the drone. Do you want to show the viewers that thing that is just immense?
This is one of the ones we use to see. This is the DJI Inspire 2 with the X7 camera. That's a super 35mm camera, which is effectively what you see a lot of TV programs being filmed on the size of the camera sensor. So it produces pretty cool footage. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
Cost?
In all, with all the bits and pieces and all the batteries and SD drive and the camera system, which is several £1,000s, you're looking at upwards of anywhere between 12 to 15 grand.
Wow.
For that bit of kit, by the time you add in all the factors of the extra controller that I've got and all these bits and pieces.
Now the reason I wanted to sort of pick in on that, Roger, and your licensing as well, is I'm quite active on a few of the social media groups for estate agents. Yes, it's a bit geeky, I know, but we're out there. And there's quite a few agents occasionally will pop up and go, oh, I'm going to buy my own drone and do all my own work.
Yep.
Why should they not do that?
There's a few reasons, really. The first is the legality side of it. I think is probably one of the most important parts, in as much as the licensing and the laws in this country where it comes to drone operations. If you're doing anything commercially with a drone, you need to have a CAA operational authorization, as it's now called. It changed recently from a permission for commercial operation to now operational authorization. They change the rules and the regs constantly, but in a major way every so often, to try and make things, they say, easier.
So what if, say, for example, Joe Bloggs Estate Agents decides to, for Christmas, get a little drone with a little camera thing on it and starts flying it around? What could be the pitfalls for that then?
Well, there's a few things. Firstly, he's not going to be insured.
Yeah, really important.
So if he has a problem...
I think even their own PI insurance wouldn't cover them.
No, it wouldn't, because it doesn't cover for commercial use, like for flying drones.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's a specific insurance that you must have, which is a regulation. It's law. You have to have it. Yeah. It's part of the licensing, or licensing operation approval procedures that you have to have. So if they have an accident and they, which is easy to do if you don't know what you're doing, and something happens, a drone falls on some property or on a car, or worse still, hits a person, they've probably pretty certainly got no insurance, which is not good. It's also not good for their business reputation either.
That's very true.
And then the legal side of it, if they were to be prosecuted for operating a drone commercially and using the footage for commercial purposes, you can be looking at fines of £5,000-10,000 up that sort of figure, or up to that. I mean, and also possibly imprisonment, depending on severity of the crime. So, I mean, that's an extreme case.
But I think it's important, though, isn't it? Because again, I think a lot of people out there, and I do, like you, like myself, we all want to start off somewhere and go for it. That's fine, but do it properly. Don't sort of, as we just mentioned.
Well, the biggest caveat I think for doing it properly is I could easily set myself up and say I'm an estate agent.
Yep.
But
you probably do a better job than me, but that's...
I don't know, mate. I don't know. But I wouldn't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know the pitfalls and the ins and outs. I wouldn't, how to deal with the process and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yes, I could sell a house, but could I really do it professionally?
Yeah.
And that's the key factor. Yes, anyone can pick up a camera, anyone can use a gimbal, but can you do it professionally? Can you make that footage better than your competitors? And that's the idea of using somebody that's a professional person. As a business owners and as estate agents and business owners, you know the benefits to using professional services.
Of course you do.
You use professional solicitors, you use professional mortgage advisors, you use
surveyors
professional surveyors.
Yeah, got you.
So why don't you do the same when it comes to you for your marketing?
Well, this is the most crucial part, isn't it?
It is, because if you don't have good marketing, you're not going to sell any properties. So you're not going to make any money.
That again, I think you just hit the nail on the head there. Is use people that are specific for that job.
Yep.
The drone side of things for us has been a massive game changer. It just helps for buyers, for tenants, people looking for properties, just to have a look where the property's located. And I think we've seen it just elevates our whole marketing level by just a million miles.
It gives you great footage to use, and it's footage that you can keep using over a period of time.
Yeah,
even
definitely.
once the property is sold, you can use bits of that footage for adverts and social media marketing, and because social media is so important.
Definitely.
Now. So important.
Definitely, without a doubt. So that's the drone. I know we use quite often. We use a smaller drone.
One. Yeah. This one comes out for the really big jobs. The reason why I tend to use the smaller drones like the Mavic 2 Pro that you see me using for most of what I do, it's because it's easier to get up in the air. There's less setup involved as you have to put it all together. It's also a lot quieter. And the last thing that any professional operator wants to do, or in fairness, even hobbyists, let's be honest, a lot of hobby flyers out there are really good people, and they fly really well, they fly really sensibly, and nobody wants to upset the neighbours.
No, that's the big thing, isn't it?
Or intrude on people's privacy. So the smaller drones are smaller, they're quieter, they're less intrusive.
I don't think we've ever had a situation where we've not been able to fly. I know we've had a couple of issues with like the Port of Dover, the airport,
or the weather.
The weather, that's another big thing. But we'd always go. I mean, I help out, and we go knocking on neighbours' doors. We just let you know what
people
we're
know
doing.
what we're doing. Yeah. And I find that if you tell people what you're doing and why you're doing it, they're perfectly okay.
It's if you don't.
It's when you don't, and they see a drone hovering around what they think looks like their house, and it's not. It's nowhere near their house, but to them it looks. Then that's when they come out. And people have got the right to ask you what you're doing.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with anyone coming up to me and saying what you're doing there, and I'll take the time to talk to them, explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
And that's important. Definitely.
9 times out of 10, that's enough. People are happy. They generally then become quite interested in the equipment that you're using, and.
Talking equiment.
Yeah.
This is the bad boy that we see more.
That's what you see me using all the time.
So, talk us through.
So,
what have we got here, Roger?
Well, it weighs a ton for starters because the lens on this thing is so heavy. But basically, what we got here, we got the Z-Cam cinema camera body, which is a 6K camera. Again, 35mm sensor. So the sensor's lovely for movies, for film, for video. So we've got the body on there, 6K camera. We then got a wide angle lens, which is an 11-24 cinema lens. It's as wide as I would want to go for property.
I think you could stretch it.
You stretch it too long and you start to get the barrel rolled around the edges and walls look out of shape. So that's 11-24 cinema lens. Lots and lots of glass in that, so it's really, really
good
heavy.
Quality.
And then you've got the DJI new Ronin 2 gimbal, which is what keeps the camera reasonably steady when you're carrying it. And then on the back there you've got an Atomos monitor and SSD recorder, so the signal comes from the camera via a lead straight into the SSD drive, and it records straight onto that.
So you're watching what I'm doing, not from the camera.
No,
but from
I'm
the
watching
screen.
it from the screen down
Right,
there.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So again, we started using little GoPros and so forth, and I know agents, I've seen them using just a digital camera, just here.
People do. They use digital camera.
That's way better.
Way better. Yeah, it's a proper cinema camera, so it doesn't take photos. It will take photos, but they're not very great. It's a 12 megapixel sensor, and the reason why it's only a 12 megapixel sensor is the larger pixels for video are much better than a high resolution sensor which has got tiny pixels. They're great for photos but not so good for video. So it's a 12 megapixel sensor, but it's a proper cinema camera, so it's a body that you would use for film, TV, again, that sort of thing. I mean, so it's got a more cinematic look to it.
I mean, I always love doing these. I think the first couple we did, we hit it off straight away. It was fine. But we were joking the other day, weren't we? We did four of these, and working with someone as professional as Roger and the experience that we've got working together, we did 4 in under 2 hours.
We did, yeah.
That included drone work. That's all 4 individual presentations.
Yeah, it was quite incredible. Yeah.
Go on then, tell the viewers. If they went and bought all this equipment here just for the camera set, for this setup, what are we looking at total?
So camera body, I think it was about £4,500
Wow.
Cinema lens was nearly 3,000 for that one lens. Then you got the Atomos recorder on the back, which was another £700, I think. The gimbal was about £700-800.
So well in excess of £10,000.
So again, you're in the area of sort of like probably 7,000 to 8,000, I would say, roughly thereabouts. And it's heavy.
That's I know. I see you struggling with that.
It's heavy. You work up a sweat with it, but then that's its pitfall. Having all.
But I think quite rightly, as we've proven, the quality that comes out, Roger, it is. I mean, from an estate agent's point of view, the videos that we're putting out there are of professional quality.
They're looking great.
They're not looking as though someone's just knocked it up on their iPhone. And there's a place for that, but not, I think, when you're.
I think for doing iPhone work and GoPro stuff is great for, this is where a sneak peek is coming to market sort of thing. They have their place. Yeah. I'm not saying they don't. They certainly have their place. But when it comes to actually showcasing a property, you wouldn't use, a non-professional surveyor or a bad mortgage advisor as an estate agent. You want the best around.
And this is the crucial point, isn't it? Because agents, this gives you your buyers. I can tell you now.
But the key factor with this also is it's great having all the gear, but you've also got to know how to use it and how to get and not so much using it, but how to get the shot. And that's where the professional side of it comes in. Anyone can go and buy this equipment if they've got the money to buy it.
How do you use it?
But it's knowing how to frame a shot, how to get nice smooth motion.
I always remember you sort of chatting about changing the ISO ratings or something.
Yeah, ISO with aperture, and it's again knowing how to get the best out of the camera in difficult situations. And a lot of the properties we filmed there's been no power. Yeah. So it's quite dark inside.
But it doesn't look as though when you've done the video, it picks it up.
Yeah, it doesn't look dark. You've got to. But it's about knowing how to use the equipment and how to get the best from it.
So I think, some of the shots that you've done and we've developed over the year or so, like with the twirling around staircases, it's just stuff like that, guys, that just helps capture people's attention. Yeah. We're very fortunate. We've got Emily in-house, who's our digital marketer, and she'll help promote properties via this sort of technology. Yeah. So we've been to the property. We've done our take and we're off and we've recorded it all.
Done it all.
That's kind of the fun bit. The hard bit starts then, doesn't it?
Then the hours of work come in. Yeah, so
cutting and splicing.
Back to the office.
Well, it's not cutting and splicing really. It's not film anymore, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, that's the nice thing about it. It's not. So if you need to do multiple takes, it's not really, other than time, it's not costing anything. But so it's then take that footage off the SSD drives into the computer, and then load that into the software that I use to edit the footage. I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I use the whole Adobe platform.
That's expensive on its own.
That costs a bit of money.
Yeah.
And then you edit the footage into that, and then you'll select the right type of music. And again, I use proper licensed music. I don't just nick a track off YouTube or something like that. I pay a fee for the track, so it's properly licensed and so on and so forth. and then you colour grade it, or you colour correct the footage first.
Oh, okay, so it's not just what comes off here,
No.
you're tweaking it.
No, because colours aren't right. You know, reds might not be properly red and greens might not be properly green. So you have to colour correct all the colours and using vector scopes on the software to make sure everything's correct. And then you colour grade the footage, so you colour it to how you want it to look once you've got the correct colours in place.
Yeah.
And then obviously you edit it all and then sync the audio up. So and it can take a few hours to do one. To do a 2-minute film can easily take 4 or 5 hours.
I've never been. I have to say, viewers, I've never been disappointed with what you've produced for us.
Thank you. Yeah.
We've had 10. I won't say. We've done 100 yet. Probably not hit the 100 yet.
We've
done a lot
of films. Yeah.
And again, it just helps. From an estate agency point of view, it's brought us into that 21st century, really. You know,
it's another weapon in your arsenal of marketing.
Yeah. And you've just taken another one on.
And I've just taken another one on. Yeah, I've just bought another bit again.
For anybody out there that's an agent, or you've got, I don't know, you just want to do a presentation on a property or a business, or a development, anything like that, Roger is definitely your man, because not only can he do the drone work, he can do the cinematic videos that we call them. You can do still photography. With I say with a standard camera, it's not a standard camera, it's a very top end camera, but normal photographs, still photos. But also you've just started utilising, which we've been using for a while, the 3D technology with a Matterport
cameras. Yeah. Something I looked to get into a year ago, and I bought, like you started off with
the Z1,
the Z1. But it sat on my desk because, to be perfectly honest, I was so busy with all of this.
Yeah.
I just didn't really get the time to get heavily into it.
Yeah.
But I've taken the plunge, decided to go for the proper Matterport after seeing
we upgraded.
I mean, they're incredible. I mean, the difference, you know, you think that the Z1 does a good job, and for what it is, it does a pretty good job. But then when you compare that to the Matterport Pro 2 camera, it's night and day.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. So just started doing that, and bought myself a Matterport and a pretty sturdy tripod.
Did our first one the other day with Peter from Distinctive Homes.
It was great. It was just, you know, I wanted to just knowing how the software works, and you know,
and it's pretty straightforward. We say pretty plug and play, but again, from an agent's point of view, if you're wanting to enhance your marketing going through to 2022 and beyond, and you're kind of fed up of trying to get your camera out and get decent shots and they don't look right, and you want to just elevate your business, and I shouldn't, anybody that's local to us, please don't use Roger, because it definitely works for us, and I'm not joking, it really, really does, and I know you've worked with another couple of local agents, and I love what you do with their stuff as well.
Thank you.
So if you are an agent, you want to enhance what you're doing, it is. I couldn't believe how cheap you were when I was. No, seriously, when I did a ring around it was just over a year ago, and I spoke to 3 or 4 different companies, picked up you as well, and you were just like, do you know what? That's affordable. Yeah, and that's the key to it.
I think that's the thing.
It's not necessarily saying you're the cheapest. In fact, you probably are, but you get what you pay for. And again, with Roger, he can do the drone, he can do the video, he can do the stills, he can do your floor plan, and he can also do the Matterport 3D tour as well. So literally, you can say, I've got this house on, £700,000, I need a full marketing pack on it. Roger, there we go, there's the details, book you in, you do it, you get it all done, and they just receive the email file or whatever. And
it's a receipt. So basically, once I've done all the footage, just send it out via something like WeTransfer or something like that, and then they just download it and it's ready to go. I put all the branding on. If they've got any text that they want on the video, bullet points, this sort of thing, I can put all that on. Excellent. And all their logos. You know, and like I do with you get your logo and everything on there, and it's just there. They download it, nothing to do, just upload it, and it's ready to go. Yeah,
So we're looking forward to next year, be using you more and more, which is great. But seriously, guys, if you are an estate agent out there, also say if you've got a commercial business, and it's, I don't know, you just want some extra footage done or anything like that, Roger is definitely man. You don't just cover Ashford, you cover the whole of Kent, you go all over London, you go all over the place, don't you? So, although being a local chap, to us here, you're just the other side of Canterbury.
Yeah, just the other side of Canterbury. Yeah.
So Roger can travel anywhere. Great guy to work, and I genuinely mean
Thank
it.
You
and
very
I appreciate
much.
Everything you've done
You're
for
welcome.
us.
It's been a pleasure,
particularly this year as well.
I've loved it. It's great.
Working around COVID.
We have a giggle, don't we?
We do, and that's the fun bit of it. You know, we have to do
it's got to be fun.
Serious bit in front of the camera.
Yeah, the footage has got. You've got to be serious when you're doing the job, and the footage has got to look good, but you've got to have a bit of a giggle
and you
whilst
put up
you're
with
there.
my mistakes as
Put
well.
up with all your...
I'm still waiting for you to put the bloopers out.
Yeah,
but
I've got a few.
well, Roger, thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for coming
Been
in
a
today and
pleasure.
showing the equipment. I know the team here are just like, wow, how expensive is that? But it certainly gives us the better, or the I suppose, the edge over the competition.
I'm glad to hear it. That's the whole idea of doing it, is to
Brilliant.
make sure you got the edge. Appreciate
Thank
it, mate.
you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks very much indeed. Take
See
care.
ya.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.